MSA. Good morning, all. Start looking at that MSA. I have some thoughts. I'm having some things change for my stuff, so it would be real good. Yeah.
Ready? The regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees of Lufkin Independent School District is called to order at 5:15 p.m. Notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, and a quorum of the board is present. First off, item number 2, our invocation. I will ask Joe Caesar if you please rise to voice that for us.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God in heaven, we come to you in prayer, Father, once again, just to thank you. I thank you for allowing us all to be here. I thank you for the tremendous responsibility you've given us to serve this school district, this community, faculty and staff, and the parents. Father, we pray for all the decisions that we make, that they are always in the best interest of all those that I mentioned. But most of all, Father, we thank you for Jesus. We thank you for the blood that is shed on the cross. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now for our pledges. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, you may be seated. Item number 4 is just to welcome all of you who have chosen to be with us as witness to the work of the School Board of Lufkin ISD. We thank you for your commitment of time to being here. Number 5, comments from the audience. We did not have any members of the community sign up to speak to the board tonight. So we're going to move straight into item number 6, which is a public hearing for the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. The board will hold a public hearing to discuss Lufkin ISD's first report. The time is now 5:17 p.m. I will call on Keith Weddington to lead the hearing.
All right, tonight we're going to go over the 2024-2025 first report. Remember, this is the data as of the 23-24 school year. So just a little overview of the state right now. Of the 1,018 districts in the state, 862 of them also got a superior rating, which is about 85% of the state. So the first report grades districts, as y'all know, on a variety of different categories. Over 21 indicators. Those number of indicators fluctuate from year to year depending on how the state wants to view each district. But I kind of gave you just a rough idea of some of the different things they're looking at. They're looking at time of completion and an unmodified opinion of our annual audit. They're looking for prompt payments for payroll, which is your TRS of the state, IRS payments, those kind of things, as well as our debt obligations. So any bond payments we make to make sure we're getting them issued on time. They're looking at our debt to asset ratios, looking at our liabilities to assets, a lot of our different ratios of our different books. They also are looking at the fund balance thresholds to make sure we're maintaining a healthy fund balance. They're looking at the ADA projections versus what the actual came in to make sure that we're adequately trying to project where our ADA is going to be. And they're also looking at a lot of our student to staff ratios. So there are a couple different types of indicators. You have your critical and your ceiling indicators, and the first 4 are critical indicators, so any of those that if you get a no on, you automatically will fail your rating. There are a handful of the ceiling indicators, as you can see there, where if you don't meet that ceiling point, then you don't get any credit as well. So really on all those indicators, you want to make sure you're really watching those to make sure you're not getting dinged on any of those. So for Lufkin ISD, this, as I said, the report is based on the 23-24 data. For more than 10 years, Lufkin has maintained a superior rating, and this year the district scored 96 out of 100 possible points. The only rating that we had a small hit on was rating number 13, or indicator number 13, and this indicator is looking at our administrative cost ratio to make sure it's kind of in line with where they're kind of projecting it to be. This is something that the district has already identified in the last couple of years and have already started working towards correcting. So we should see less and less points being taken off each year as we come up to where the state has put their standard for this rating, for this indicator. Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna now close the public hearing at 5:20 PM. Thank you, Heath, for that good report. We appreciate all the work that goes into that. I know that was just a couple minutes of your time to present it, but it's a whole year's worth of work, really diligently. I know Melinda knows that too, all those of us who are accountants, so we appreciate, please thank everyone for the work they've done. Item number 7, the annual collections report. I'll call on James Guest.
Thank you, Ms. Kate Ward. It's nice to be here with you again this year. Thank you, Dr. Hockenberry, for inviting us and putting us on the agenda. My name is James Guest. I am your lead attorney with the Linebarger Law Firm for collecting delinquent property taxes. I also have Ms. Kelsey Hewlett with me. She's our file manager, and our area manager had parent duties tonight, so she's not here. But Ashley is also, she's been with the firm many years, and she does such a great job on behalf of the district. And we're very proud to report these numbers tonight. I'm going to briefly hit the highlights of the report, but you have it in your packet, and we also handed out a paper copy. The collection report is, the timeline is from our tax collection year, July 1st of 24 through June 30th of 25. And the report will go through the escalation of our collection process. And if you turn the page, that always begins with our mailings. On July 1, we received the current year delinquent taxes, and we will analyze the data. We will strategically look for specific accounts to target for litigation, and of course we mail out on all of the accounts, and we do that throughout the year. Over this period, we sent over 12,809 letters. That doesn't include also our notice of intent to sue letters on specific accounts, and those letters will increase with tone throughout the year as well. When those letters, when the mailings we do not receive the feedback we need to on specific accounts, and we move to litigation. If you'll turn the page, during this time period, we filed 67 petitions on 121 accounts. We filed 2 tax warrants, and currently we have 118 pending lawsuits here in the district. The tax warrants we use to really target high dollar businesses or businesses that are going out of business. The Dairy Queen here in Lufkin was one of those. They closed shop, and we were able to move in before they sold everything to collect those taxes, not only what was owed, but also for next year. If you turn the page, during this time frame, we also took 60 judgments. It takes about a year and a half for us to file a lawsuit and conduct all the research, title work, and serve the defendants before we can take it to court and we obtain a judgment. This year we took 60 accounts to judgment on 39 different lawsuits. And we also released 18 judgments for just over $572,000 worth of tax. The release is when we have a lawsuit that's been filed and the defendants or taxpayers come in and make payment on those accounts. Once we take a judgment, then we move to our tax sale process. If you have your phone, you can use that QR code listed here on the report to look at properties that are available. As you can see, here's a screenshot below with some of the properties that are offered here in Lufkin. And there are some struck off properties. That means we took them to an initial sale, no one purchased them, then they're struck off to the entities for a later sale. During this time, we sold 46 tracts for just over $1.3 million of taxes being collected. So if you turn the page to the collection, 20 delinquent accounts. These are your top 20. And we redacted the names for the public meeting, but as you can see, we are working on every single one of these. You have quite a few that are in deferral. Not all of the accounts on your delinquent tax roll are collectible today. Some of that money will be available in the future. Bankruptcies, deferrals, fit into those categories. When we file a lawsuit, we always ask our taxpayers if it's a homestead, if they're over 65 or disabled, we want them to know what those remedies are. We want to help them obtain those remedies so they can keep their homes, lower the interest rates, and also stop all foreclosure actions. If you turn the page, here's the status of accounts. This pie chart is if you take your different accounts on your delinquent tax roll, as you can see, 17% are in deferral. That's a pretty high number. Again, that will be money that will be available sometime in the future. 17 is under litigation. You have 17% that is unknown bad addresses. This is where the information we receive from the tax office, which receives it from the appraisal district, those addresses are not always correct. People pass away, people move, and are not always updating their information. Our firm has very sophisticated technology to locate these defendants, skip tracing technology, and that is always working in the background as well. You have 42% of your accounts that are in active collections, meaning there's no hold codes. So we are, of course, sending letters to all of your accounts that fit the requirement of active collections and also, of course, litigation. So if you turn the page, your TEA collections, as part of your financial integrity rating, this is a factor. To receive the highest rating, you have to have a 3-year collection average of 98% or higher. We're very proud to report that Lufkin ISD has a 3-year average of 99.59%. And so we wanted to list the last 5 years of your TEA collection rates. This comes directly from your financial report, J1 schedules. So this information comes directly from TEA. And if you turn the page, we have the last 3 years of collections. And as you can see, this last year was a really, really great year. There were several factors, one being the Lufkin Mall, which ended up paying. So that was that's another reason why your accounts, which you'll see here in a minute, for turnover went down this year, is because we were able to force payment on the mall. We came very close to selling it, which we did not want to, so we were happy that they were able to come forward. If you turn the page, yes, sir.
On the collections page with the 99.59%, I think we had this question before. In 2020, 2021, and 2021, 2022, we collected more than 100%. Is that because of interest or is it penalties? How is that possible?
That's right. So this rate is based upon your levy, which is your tax rate times your value. So every year you have a levy, and anything that's collected over that levy amount is, that's how you get into the 100%. So a good delinquent collection program will knock you up into 101 percentiles. Your current year collections usually, and it varies across the board from taxing entity to taxing entity. If you receive 97, 98% of your current years, that's pretty good, and your delinquent collections will bump you up to higher than that. I don't know what your current year collection percentages are here. I know in some areas in DP, Texas, it's as low as 94, 95%. But overall, this is a combination, both of those.
Thank you.
So if you turn the page to the collections, the 3-year comparison, as you can see, we collected $1,388,126.25 this past year compared to the last 2 years. So it's steadily going up. We know values are going up as well, but we have some great staff with a lot of experience here. So we expect those amounts to continue, although we know that the exemptions are likely going to be approved next month. It was a little, we expected collections actually go down year after year since these exemptions have increased, but we haven't seen that yet. So it'll be interesting to see how this affects delinquent collections going forward. If you turn the page, I just have some highlights from, this is a turnover report. We implemented a second report. This isn't all of it. I just wanted to show the highlights tonight. The turnover report shows the current year collections that are turned over to us in July. As you know, tax bills are going out in October. Those taxes are delinquent February 1st and then turned over to our firm on July 1st. And so if you look at this first page on July, we mailed 2,666 accounts for a little over $2.8 million. And that's your base taxes, penalties, and interest. If you turn the page, this year we received 2,617 new current year tax accounts for just over $1 million. It's $1,056,736 base tax compared to last year, which is just under that. So more accounts this year. So you had 2,605 last year turned over for a little over 1.1 million. So the amount of base tax has gone down, but the accounts went up. So it's just to give you kind of a comparison where we are. I have one more, if there's no questions on taxes, I had one other, just some highlights on the property value study I wanted to share with you tonight. It's not part of your packet, but yes, ma'am.
Looking at that page, how many people, or how many of these accounts are repeat offenders year over year?
So,
And I say repeated on this list, I guess, not offenders.
So a lot of those accounts are going to be years where they stopped paying a year or two ago, maybe even 3 years, and so they that's why they're in litigation. But I would probably say probably the majority. I do not have that data in front of me, and this data is available. I've been to board meetings where I didn't know that we were going to have somebody on that list, so that's why we redact that. That's in the audience, so it's a very uncomfortable feeling when you realize that looking at a nameplate. So we redact them just for the open meeting, but that information is available. So
It might be a good way to pay.
it's actually worked.
Yeah.
That the last time that happened, a payment was made the next day. So property, are there any other questions regarding tax collections? So we also provide property value study appeals on behalf of the district. We were hired probably 4 or 5 years ago to represent the district, and your values have been, you've actually passed the property value study, your values have been valid the last few years, but we still review for what's called a self-report appeal. This is looking at your July 25th certified roll versus your adjusted roll on January 30th. And if we see enough valuation, if there's enough value lost due to appeals and other issues, then we'll file an appeal. This past year, with the 2024 cycle, we were able to reduce your values by $43,421,213. So just over $43 million. And again, this does not affect your values on your property itself. This is only affecting the state's review of school finance. So this is looking at how much additional state funding you will receive. And so that resulted in approximately $445,000 in additional state aid for the district. And over the last 5 years, we have, our appeals have resulted in a little over $4 million for the district. So that's additional state funding that you would not have received. So Dr. Hockenberry has been great to work with. He keeps us very accountable, very involved with what we do. And so I really appreciate your input and guidance. And are there any other questions? Jill and Heath, you guys have gone through a lot with us as well, the property value study. So appreciate your patience. And we've learned a lot together over the last couple of years. So, but are there any questions regarding the reports tonight?
Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Greg, for being here. Good report. All right, item number 8, administrative reports. This is for information only. I'll call first on Dr. Hockenberry for a superintendent's update.
I just want to remind everyone that we have our inaugural Acme Learning Center graduation scheduled for Monday, October 27th at 6 at Lufkin Middle School Auditorium. I will send out a formal reminder and invitation sometime next week. We're excited to recognize and celebrate our first graduating class. It's great news. Additionally, we have 106 students enrolled as of today, far exceeding any expectation we had for our first year. Also, our new buses arrived. We haven't bought buses in a while. Thank you for approving the purchase, so they came today. That was a big,
Earlier than we thought.
so that's a big deal when we get new buses. We haven't had them in a while. And I know they're already getting ready to put them on the road tomorrow evening on the south to Baytown. So I want to give a glimpse of our November meeting, because it will be an extraordinary meeting that will include several fascinating and transformative items, including our STEM elementary schools planning update, our quality seats analysis, and associated dashboard, and discussion of moving toward a K-5 model for our elementary grades, which continues to have great support. Also want to thank you for supporting my participation leadership Lufkin. We've been very busy. The activities, volunteering, and interactions have been superb, and we did, Lufkin ISD did host Education Day on October 2nd as well. That's all I have tonight, Madam President.
Thank you for
Yes,
that
ma'am.
report. Next up is Keith Weddington with the business office report.
Business office starts on page 17. On pages 18 through 22, we have our budget to actual revenue and expenditures through September 25. This is the first month that we are recognizing the revenues from this school year, so you can see the percentages for the revenues collected are starting to go up. Our expenditures are more or less right along the line where they should be. And on pages 23, we have our investment report. We've got about 47% of our funds sitting in our Bear Bank money market account, and the remainder is in our investment. And it's about 85% is our general fund for that. On page 24, we have our tax collection report. This is the last report for the 24-25, or for the 24 tax rolls. We are currently sitting just over 97% collections. So like James said, you know, our district runs about 97, 98, depending on the year. And then on pages 25, we have our quarterly investment report. So this is going to show the trends over the last 3 months for our investments. On pages 26, we have our Save Cycle 1 and 2 report. We've got just over $1 million left to spend, and the end date on that grant is April of 27. And we are working through some of the final projects right now to spend down the rest of those funds. On page 28, we have the update for the capital outlay projects. For the Brook Hollow roof, we're still working with TASB on that RFQ and hope to have that out soon, just to make sure we've got all the specs we need for being able to make sure it's covered under our insurance. The maintenance box trucks, we have gotten 3 quotes back on that, and the prices came in a little bit higher than originally anticipated. So farther down the report, we'll ask for y'all to approve that increase so that we can go ahead and move forward with purchasing those. We do have the van box truck ready to roll. We are only waiting for the maintenance truck to be approved. That way we can go ahead and submit both those orders at the same time. The van truck will come in with the wraps and all the stuff they're looking at to get on that truck. And then as Dr. Hockenberry said, the buses came in last night. So that's the first one that we can definitely tick off our list for these projects. And then for the middle school driveway, we are now working through the RFQ process to try and get better pricing for that project versus what we had originally gotten. So we're still working on that process, and we'll give you all an update as soon as we get the final figures for that. Does anybody have any questions on any of those reports?
Okay. So we need to have a motion and a second to approve the overage yet, or?
That'll come later on.
Later.
Further down
Okay.
the agenda.
Okay.
It's part of the budget amendments.
All right, okay. Any questions? All right, next is Dr. Spikes with the Administrative Services Office report.
Yeah, the HR services report is on page 29. It contains all of our employments, resignations, as well as our on-the-job injuries. Also want to draw your attention to our support services report, which begins on page 31. Our DVA, which is our District Vulnerability Assessment, was done. We got our findings back from TEA, so we're excited to share those findings with you. However, we have to present it to the Safety and Security Committee first. So once we present it to them, then we'll present it to you as well. We did well, so we're excited about the results. We do have a little bit of work to do, but again, as long as we are moving towards progress in terms of making sure that our campuses are safe, we're excited about being able to put those things in place. I also want to echo, we thank you for the buses. They did come in. I think I put on the report that we expect them by Christmas. Well, Christmas came early, so we celebrated this morning. Mr. Bird is excited. He wanted to be here today, but he had to take care of some other business to say thank you himself. But we do appreciate the purchases this year. And then finally, the food show is this past week as well, and so I'm sure that went off really well. Unfortunately, I had to go to the conference, but I know it's always been a success, so I'm sure it was the same this year.
Any questions?
Dr. Spikes, like, we hired 2 more resource officers, so are we fully, is every campus, where are we at with that?
We're still down
Close.
one. Still
Okay.
down one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're getting close.
Closest we've ever been, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure that we thought we'd be at this point.
We actually got a candidate for the last one, it's just been the initial supervision.
Right. We're almost there.
Excellent, thank you. All right, next is the approval of our consent agenda. I'm gonna read the language for this, and then we all are going to go through these items. Several routine items are being grouped into a single consent agenda. Any board member may request that any or all of the items on the consent agenda be removed and considered as a separate item. If no such request is made, all items, when we conclude with our information on the consent agenda, may be approved by a single action of the Board of Trustees. So first up, we have Dr. Hockenberry with minutes of the previous meeting.
They are listed in your board book, starting on page 33. I'm happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Okay, Dr. Spikes, the professional personnel monthly report.
The only difference from my HR services report is that you'll see that there are a few site coordinators that were hired as well as a teacher. So we'll need your approval for that.
Mr. Weathington, the expenditures for September, and then the next few years, also the budget amendment and purchases over 50,000.
So on pages 40 through 57 are the checks over 3,000, the invoices over 10, and the monthly check register. If nobody has any questions, we'll move on to the budget amendments. So as I said earlier, the buses, or the maintenance truck did come in a little bit over where we anticipated. So on this budget amendment, we are requesting an increase of the 15,000 to cover those expenses. And then we just have our standard little bit of activity between functions that the campuses and departments are requesting. And then on page 62 is our purchase over 50,000. We are requesting that you approve the purchase for us to pay our annual membership for the communities and schools that we participate with every year.
Any questions about that? All right, next up are going to be a number of proposals. We're going to start with Josh Williams about our E-rate cybersecurity pilot program.
Yeah, so in the fall of 2024, we had the opportunity to submit an application through E-rate to be considered for a 3-year cybersecurity pilot program. In January, we received confirmation that we were one of 71 districts in the state of Texas selected to participate. So similar to traditional E-rate funding, this pilot program will cover up to 90% of the eligible purchases, significantly supporting our district's cybersecurity efforts. On July 3rd, an RFP for E-rate eligible services was advertised and requested. The RFP was broken down into 4 parts: firewall services, DNS services, patch management, and penetration testing. Starting on page 63, you'll find the details for each section of the RFP. Parts 1 through 3 will be a 3-year term for the services. However, part 4 will be just a single purchase, a one-time purchase. We are requesting the board to approve the awarded vendors based on the information in the board packet. Are there any questions?
Joe, this is definitely not.
Yeah.
So does Joe have a question?
Relying on
No.
He brought it, by the way, Joe brought this to our attention over a year ago to investigate, consider, and pursue.
I'm definitely going to do it, so.
I was gonna ask if we could take the 2 pre-bonds out of the consent and vote on them separately.
Oh, well, we're still working on the first one, I think. But yeah, we can. Anybody else have any comments or questions for about the E-rate cybersecurity pilot program. I know Dr. Hockenberry and I had a discussion not long ago, that back, I guess it was the fall, was it the fall of 20 or the fall of 21?
Yeah, fall of 21.
Fall of 21, when we, had the horrible system problems that we had, and I had made the comment, you know, are we sure that there's nothing else that we need to be doing now? And then he told me about this and assured me that we were looking at lots of innovative things to stay in front of any potential problem. So, you know, thank you for that. We don't ever want to do that again. I know. That was a severe disruption. Okay. If there's no other comments, then now we're to the pre-bond for architectural engineering services. Melinda has asked that we pull both of these out and vote on them separately. And so since they're the only things left, I'd like to call for a motion on the remaining items in the consent agenda. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Items that we've already discussed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that? And that motion carries. All right, with that, we now turn to the pre-bond athletic stadium facilities architectural and engineering services, and I call on Ariana Gonzalez.
Okay, so based on the evaluation for our pre-bond athletic stadium facilities, RFQ, it is recommended that the board approve Park Hill as a designated firm to provide architectural and engineering services. I'm sure the board knows and the community also knows, it isn't a secret that Abe Martin Stadium has some foundation and drainage issues, and Park Hill's strong experience in these areas made them a great fit. The proposal demonstrated extensive work with athletic facility projects, especially in drainage and concrete improvements, and showed a clear understanding of the district goals. Park Hill was also recognized by TASB with the 2025-2026 Exhibit of School Architecture Award for Design, Value, and Community, which further highlights the quality of their work and commitment to Texas districts. Do we have any questions over this RFQ? Okay, so I'm gonna move to the second RFQ. Our second one is for district services for possible new construction and renovation projects. Based on the evaluation, it is recommended that the board approve GLS as the designated firm to provide architectural and engineering services. GLS demonstrated a strong understanding of the district's overall facility goals and has great experience with both renovation and new construction projects across Texas districts. This proposal highlighted a collaborative, hands-on approach that aligns with the direction we're heading as we move forward with pre-bond planning. And for this one, I'm also happy to answer any questions that we have.
I fully support the recommendation. I know Ms. Gonzalez did a lot of work. She has shared the information with me. We've discussed it. We've evaluated much of this. I have some opinions that further strengthen the recommendation. Is experience in building stadiums, I think, is very important. Critically important. It's a specialty item in my opinion, and I'm probably not using the right terminology, but it's a stadium. In my opinion, experience matters. Park Hill has recently built stadiums comparable in size to what we would be considering. Plus, they have worked alongside a district similar to ours in assisting them in a successful bond package. And so you look at those things as well. Of course, we always fall back on the scoring rubric, which is part of the proposal. But when you kind of extend a little bit beyond that, those are some things I weigh in. On the other matter, I think when you look at, I have personal experience with GLS and other districts and have had wonderful experiences. They're local, they're dependable, reliable, responsive, and trustworthy. And I fully support, the rubric, the scoring, the process that we've gone through. And I want to emphasize this is pre-bond work. This is not, upon successful passage, there'll be a whole nother proposal process that will go forward to award the projects upon successful passage of the bond, which I'm very optimistic that will occur. And that's my 2 cents, if it's worth anything.
If we wanted to see the rubric, we could request that.
It's in the proposal, but yes.
Yes, thank y'all.
Okay, I will say, I know there may be some other discussion, but I am recusing myself from vote because of a family relationship with one of the bidders. And so the others who are here will be the ones voting on this matter, and I am recused.
So we need to vote twice on this, correct?
Right.
And I'll make a motion that we start with the pre-bond for athletic stadium facilities that go with the recommendation.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the pre-bond athletic stadium facilities, architectural and engineering services to award that to Park Hill. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that? And that motion carries.
I'll make the motion to go with GOS on the pre-bond district services, architectural and engineering services.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to award the pre-bond district services, architectural and engineering services to Goodwin Lassiter Strong. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that? And that motion carries. All right, next item is a closed session. The board will now convene into a closed meeting at 5:51 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551, subchapters D and E, or Texas Government Code 418.183F. No action will be taken during the closed meeting. So,
Yeah. It got colder in here, guys.
Yeah, and I'll get you those.
They're different.
it is now 6:14 PM and the board will reconvene in open session. Item number 12 is discussion and possible board action on the superintendent's evaluation and employment contract. So we just met in closed session to review the evaluation of the superintendent's job performance over the last year and discuss potential changes to the superintendent's contract.
I motion, including but not limited to, extended contract 1 year to 6/30/2029, increase base pay by 3%, which matches the lowest level employee pay increase this year.
Second motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to update the superintendent's contract after evaluation of his performance this year, to extend his contract by 1 year and increase his base pay by 3%. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that? And that motion carries. Item number 13, board requests for new information or reports. Does anyone have any particular requests for information? Okay, well, with that, we are adjourned at 6:15 PM.